Hey, we're back again. You know what? The Coon Prairie Ramblers are still here, circled up and ready to go.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to talk about things we did or we were taught in school. Is that right?
Well, things associated with school.
Yeah.
That are passé or fell by the wayside or have been overruled by the vast minority.
Yeah. Can I start this one off?
Well, let her rip, Tater Chip.
You know, because I was talking to my wife yesterday, and I mentioned this.
And you got schooled.
My wife is always. I'm 18 years older than my wife, but she's always schooling me.
You cradle robber.
She's always trying to school me.
They will. That's the nature of the wife. I mean, the beast.
But anyway, I was saying something to her yesterday, and it had to do with self-respect. I mean, it wasn't a
R-E-S-P-C.
It was something. A third party said something about self-respect, and I said to my wife, I said, when I was in seventh grade, when I was in seventh grade, Roosevelt Elementary, I was in it was a social studies class, but it was made up of boys. And to me, it was kind of like the Carter, the sweat hog class.
Welcome back.
I don't think it really was, but it was all boys, and it was. I thought it was something like social studies, but this teacher that I had, a male teacher, he taught a lot about the way you treat people, the way you behave, the way he would really emphasize or he brought it, whatever we studied, and he put it into it, And I can remember one thing he said, and then the subject of self-respect or self-esteem was really big, or you heard a lot of it. This is in the mid to late 60s, it was mid-60s.
Wow.
Early, 60,
those were trying times.
65, 60, during the civil rights, demonstrations and everything, and and I can't remember. I wish I could remember his name, but he was a male teacher,
Mr. Carter, Gabe Carter,
and he used to say to us, he says, "Don't be concerned about your self-esteem." He says, "Esteem other people higher. Always think,
raise others up.
Always compliment. Always esteem other people better than you." And your esteem, and you will have great self-esteem.
I remember an example of that was a guy that went out with a girl, and he'd been taught the same thing.
Oh.
And after the date was over, he was trying to think of something to say to compliment her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything he could think of.
Yeah.
Because she was just not the right person.
Not the right fit.
He decided what to say. And he said, you don't sweat much for a fat girl. Is that kind of what you're talking
about? A second date.
I think it's kind of on the bottom line there, but
but it's still
it's the same principle. Yeah.
Okay.
And he walked away with self-esteem
and a black and blue mark upside his
But
head.
I think it's a biblical principle anyway to esteem others. And if I had time to think of it, I could come up with a scripture to go with it, but. But okay, now some of the people out there in Radio Land, they might think maybe it's the flag, because we used to do a lot of
those young whippersnappers who are listening. They may not know.
Yeah,
let me tell you something about my school days as a grammar school that probably my father and his father before him and some other people could relate to, but any modern generation could never relate to this.
All right.
We used to have to go out behind the school, and it was usually a couple of boys. They would tell us to go out there, and you'd have to go get firewood to bring back into the classroom to put into a wood-burning stove.
Yeah. Man, how old are you?
Older than dirt.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's sad.
And you and Abe Lincoln used to do that side by side.
That's right. They're splitting logs.
In that classroom at Nocatee.
Good old Nocatee.
If you only had the stove at one end of the classroom, and if you were sitting somewhere close to that, it would burn you up.
Yeah.
If you were on the other side of the room, you would freeze to death.
Yeah, that was the principle of being too close.
Can't stand the heat. Get out of the classroom.
Kids would walk up by backing up to it. And
That's right.
So you'd stand there and wait till they got up there and they got long enough for their pants to heat up.
Yeah.
And you'd reach up there and grab the front of their pants and pull it against their legs.
Pull it towards you.
Burn the back
You'd
of their
have to
leg.
be careful where you grab this
from. This is
Oh,
true.
yeah. Knee, you usually wear it for the knees.
The knees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you hope.
Nothing above the knees.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the girls, they'd get, if they were really cold, they'd hike their dress when they got back there.
I don't remember seeing that.
I don't remember that either.
Well, they did it when you weren't looking.
And the other thing about Nocatee School is the restrooms were out back behind the school.
Concrete building out there.
But they didn't call them restrooms.
Bathrooms.
Boys'
call-
bathroom, girls' bathroom.
They called them, oh, okay.
It wasn't outhouses.
Outhouses.
Well, I guess they were in a sense, but
I think at one time they were.
yeah, they were. My aunt
Yeah.
remembers when they built those. They were out there,
Yeah.
and those towards those pines out there where they played ball out there towards the north and the west. Out there, that's where they used to be. Out that
And
way.
then
So you had to, when you left the building, the schoolhouse,
You
to
were
go to the
running.
bathroom, you had to run.
No.
Boogity boogity.
they covered it. Well, back when it was outhouses, it was away totally.
Hey, even
Yeah.
inside,
But-
I
Had to keep the
But-
smell away as well.
But
Out.
Yeah.
once
Outhouse.
they modernized to the point to where they had modern toilet, it wasn't indoors. It was still outdoors.
was still outdoors.
with a covered walkway. Not
Between
a
the back
walkway.
door.
Yeah, between the back door and these freestanding bathrooms.
And you had to go up a step or two. They were set
Yeah.
up high.
Yeah, they were raised, and you had to step down to get to the walkover to go to those.
That's right. They had 2 or 3 urinals and a row of toilets. I took pictures in there just before they knocked that down inside the bathroom. I'll try to remember to send them to you to use for the YouTube version of this, just before they tore the building down.
Probably the only man in the world that saved pictures of the Nocatee school bathroom.
I still didn't go in the girls' bathroom. That would have been my only chance.
Yeah.
Went there to see if KC's name was on the wall or something.
Can you remember in the boys' bathroom in school when it was just
I try not to.
a big long trough for a urinal?
I've seen those in some bathrooms.
Yeah,
I remember they had those over at the State Fair.
yeah. It was I mean, you could stand and face each other because it was.
I hope not.
You had to be careful
It was,
of sprinkling.
yeah,
That's
You
right.
didn't want to be sprinkled.
yeah, yeah.
You want to make
You
anybody
had to
mad.
make sure a good friend was standing on the other side facing you,
Or
when
make
he was doing
make
his
sure
thing.
that the guy standing beside you didn't turn to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's right. And you always try to hold back
Yeah.
a little ammunition in case you need it.
Hey, this didn't happen in school, but I remember my sister, the first house she lived in, they had a John or outside outhouse
A privy.
out there by the alley. You know, they're all next to the alley. You know, and the houses were, you know, you had a backyard in between the house and the privy, and there was this wire that went from the house to the outhouse, and that she hung clothes on. Well, when she wasn't hanging clothes, she'd tie up her boxer dog, the dog, and he could run up and down.
It was a dog trot.
Yeah. So my great aunt Agony was visiting one day, and she went out there, and I remember she was in the outhouse, and somebody walked down the alley making some noise. So that dog took off running after him, and he comes to the end of his chain, and he's kind of like
Tugging.
almost yanked the outhouse off its foundation. My aunt's out there. And man, I heard her saying all kinds of words.
She was in agony and anxiety. And
She said, "That blankety blank dog, I'm not blankety
when I
blank."
get out of here, I'm going to poke him down here.
What are some of your memories of the days of yore in school?
Well, they still say the Pledge of Allegiance here, and although we recited the Lord's Prayer back in the day, they do observe a moment of silence in the local schools for people to do whatever they want to do.
They still do.
Yeah, I was in there not long ago, and that impressed me.
That's
that.
a rural school.
Yeah, it's rural. I mean, it's up
Yeah.
to them. They still do prayers at the games and stuff.
Well,
But-
you know, there may be more actual prayers during a moment of silence than there is in reciting the Lord's Prayer. Because, and I'm not trying to get in any kind of argument with anybody, but reciting the Lord's Prayer is not necessarily even a prayer.
No, you're just going through the motions. Well, we're down to 30 seconds. We got a lot more stuff to talk about school, so I think we're going to
Yeah.
come back and revisit that in
Yeah.
just a few.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in 2 shakes of a chicken's tail, so y'all stay put.